Welcome back to the 4th and 31 podcast. Tonight, as always, or today, as always, we've got Brant Feinbaum with us and Brant's Breaking Point. Tonight, we're going to go over a little May Madness coming up next month. We finally have our 16. We are ready to roll. Those, for a reminder for everybody, those will be the seedings will come out Monday morning. So make sure you watch the Monday morning Coach Bo's Coach Talk Monday morning, and Chad will reveal the seeding for the 16 for the tournament. So make sure you guys are waiting or tuned in for that. We'll go a little bit over that tonight or today, and then we'll dive into some hot and cold teams going into the 2026 season. I'm going to throw some random teams at Brant and see how he feels about this coming up. We're in May, still early. But spring practice is going on now, and things are starting to get a little warm in the kitchen. So with that being said, Brant, let's cover May Madness a little first before we dive into the hot and colds. You know, we've got some pretty good this is a pretty good 16, man. But I'm looking forward to this. Brant, we've got a tough job ahead of us the next couple of days. We've got to seed this thing, and is there any doubt to you with the players on this list who would be number one?
Absolutely not. I mean, I feel like if you're not based, there's pretty much a unanimous number one, man, and it's got to be Tim Tebow. I mean,
I agree.
I think there's a lot of people out there that even if you dislike his religious beliefs or dislike Tebow as a person, Tim Tebow was the heart and soul of a program for years. And not only did he end up, making that team go back to the top, he really proved that it really doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish. And I think whoever has Tim Tebow is going to have an insurmountable amount of information and stats to work with. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Tim Tebow, if he's not your one seed, I'd hate to see who you have over him.
Right. Right. Well, I'm going to even ask you a harder question. With the players that we have, where where do you put Derrick Henry, your guy? Because you'll be
Mm.
representing Derrick Henry. Where do you put him in this 16?
So, obviously, I mean, if you're asking me who's got to defend him as the greatest college football player of all time, he's number one. Tim Tebow can get the hell out the way. Okay. But if you're asking me as a true college football fan, he's got to be somewhere in the middle. I mean, he was a damn good running back. Obviously, he didn't have better stats than a lot of other running backs, but it's Derrick Henry. It's a defensive tackle running the football. So, I mean, it's somebody that's pretty difficult to stop. But I know for the times that Derrick Henry was there in Alabama, he was one of the best players in the country.
Right.
I mean, at a time when Alabama was at its peak form, back when we were going back to back to back to back with Clemson, and I mean, we were pure then. We were ready to go. We were weight room was good. We were ready to go, man. I think Derrick Henry is probably in that mid range. I don't think you put him any lower than halfway. I think there's some defensive guys on there who might be good defensive players and have good stats, but they're not better than Derrick Henry. So,
Right.
and I mean, obviously, and that's the good thing, guys, about this May Madness. You fans decide. I mean, y'all decide. Whoever watches the show, y'all decide who's going the next round. It doesn't matter what Scott thinks, and it doesn't matter what Chad thinks. And this is no NFL, by the way. We really want to remind some of the viewers there will be no NFL talk when it comes to these players. So yeah, Derrick Henry had a spectacular career in college. But I cannot bring up his Titans career and his Ravens career. I cannot bring it up. It will make no sense and it won't matter because it'll be ex-nayed completely. So that's kind of a big thing, man. So when y'all are watching this and you don't hear me bring up Derrick Henry at the Titans for all those years, there's a reason. It's because I'm not allowed or Scott will cut my pay. So no NFL talk here. It's pure business, pure college. To really define the best college football player of all time, and y'all guys vote, and we cannot wait to see the upsets that come across from it. Because I'm sure there will be quite a few.
Right. Right. Oh, well, I'm going to ask one more question about your May Madness thoughts, and then we'll move on. But there's a lot of guys on this list. I'm looking at it now. You've got I'm thinking, before your time, right?
Hmm.
Uh, you know, you got guys like Derrick Thomas, Archie Griffin, uh, Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, Peter Warrick, Jim Brown was thrown on last night. That was the 16th guy. I mean, I'm talking about guys like this, like, for viewers like yourself that are young, um, what do you think? What are the chances these guys have to make it deep into this tournament? With if the average viewer is your age, which they are, um, you know, how do you feel about these guys that were around well before you guys were here? Uh, how do you feel like they stack up against some of these athletes that have been around in the last 15, 20 years? Uh, where do you think they can stack up? Especially guys like Bo Jackson, uh, Derek Thomas now, Herschel Walker. I mean, I think Bo and Herschel and even Archie, they got higher hills to climb because a lot of these viewers do not know who they are. They may have heard their name, they may have heard old folks like myself talk about them, but you don't really know. So where do you think they stack up in this?
Yeah, I mean, I think they stack up pretty well. Think it's I think you have two kind of the two-sided argument, and it's a double-edged sword. You have the argument that they played, way back in the day when maybe you didn't have that good of athletes as you do now. But you also have the argument on the other side of they played back in the day where people were meaner, there were a lot less rules, there was a lot more defense being played, there was no targeting, people didn't leave in handcuffs. You got smoked, you got smoked. Okay, and people are going to use those arguments, and I'm sure it's coming. I won't give away my arguments because hopefully I win, but I can definitely see how they would stack up well. I think you might get a little off balance when you get to the quarterback version of it because they weren't throwing the ball as much back then as they do
Right.
now. The game of football has really evolved to throwing the football. When it used to be, ground and pound, which is going to help those old timey running backs. Whoever's got Herschel and Bo, I mean, it's going to be hard to make an argument against Bo Jackson. I mean, I know you can't include pro career, but I mean, he's one of the greatest athletes of all time. So I
I
mean, I
agree.
feel like it's quite difficult to, form an argument against that, but I think they stack up better than most people think. Especially with the guys defending them. Man, we got good people defending these players. These aren't just scrubs. I mean, these are guys that call in all the time just to talk sports with us constantly, and they really want to know. They really want to throw out stats and let them know that these players are underrated and better than people give them credit for. And they're not afraid to tell us either. Trust me, we got text chats blowing up 24/7 about how great a guy is and how shitty a guy is, and how we need to take one off and put another one on there.
Right.
It's a never ending process. This is going to be a big deal for us, man. And we hope y'all tune in and, and really enjoy the content.
We've got a lot of salesmen on this bracket, and I love that. I mean, and it's their opportunity to do what
Hmm.
they do best, right? They get to
Yep.
sell their brand, right?
Hmm.
The player is their brand, and they're selling it. So I'm excited to see how this works out, and definitely look forward to it.
Yeah.
All right, Brant, let's move on
Before you go
to
on, Scott,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
to the viewers that are going to watch the bracket unfold, don't forget that it is up to you to decide, and make sure you subscribe. Your vote only counts when you subscribe. But I will say, when y'all get a chance to watch the guy that is defending Cam Newton, you are in for an absolute treat. Okay, so just go ahead and be ready for that because
Shout
it's going
out
to
to
be hard to
Tyler.
get one over
Okay,
on that guy.
I love it. I love it. Three guys that I'm actually looking forward to seeing how this works out for them is the Cam Newton guy, Tyler. Then you've got Chad Fortney with Tim Tebow, which kind of has a slam dunk, right? I mean, if you have Tim Tebow, you got a slam dunk, right? Now, if this guy loses in the first round, wow, I'm gonna never let him hear the end of it if that happens. Uh, and then Troy's got Barry Sanders. I'm excited about those three. And then the Sean came in late last night with Jim Brown. I'm excited about him as well to see how he goes. And Jim Brown's going to be a tough one, man. I mean, bro, he was around before I was. You know what I mean? I never saw him play, not college football. So I'm excited about those guys and seeing how they maneuver through this tournament, man. It's going to be awesome. All right, let's move on to the hot and colds. Brant's gonna give his thoughts. I'm gonna name some random schools, and And going into the 2026 season, we're in spring right now, so they're doing their spring games and amping up. But Brant's going to give us hot and cold about 2026 and where he sees teams. And this is going to be a hot means playoff bound, right? And cold means you're not. It doesn't mean you're out searching for a coach at the end of the year or the way it has been, looking for a new coach in the middle of the season. I don't, that's not what he's getting at. What he's saying is, I just don't see them, propelling. I don't see them getting to the playoffs kind of thing. Doesn't mean you're trash. It just means you're not there yet. That's his version of cold, just so everybody understands that before we get going, because Lord knows death threats, we don't want them, Brant
Talking to
Brant
you,
knows that
Notre
all
Dame.
all too well,
Mhm.
right? Funny you should mention Notre Dame, Brant, because they're
Mm.
first up on the list.
Mm.
Notre Dame, hot or
Notre
cold,
Dame.
Brant?
Notre Dame, I'm hot. I'm hot on Notre Dame. I think that
Okay.
pretty hard not to be hot on them. I mean, they just gotta be ranked in the top 12 by the end of the season. They can get in the playoff for free. But I mean, pretty hard not to be hot on them, especially, they no shout, no hate, Notre Dame, but you play one of the worst schedules in D1. I mean, you're gonna go in, you're gonna smoke everybody, you're gonna get the playoff. No big deal. I'm pretty hot on Notre Dame. If you don't want to look at the schedule and you don't want to look at criteria it takes to be in the playoff, I mean, they're strictly going to be going off of revenge. In their mind, they got cheated out of a playoff that they think that they should have been in, and they probably could have put up a good enough fight to maybe win the whole thing. I don't think anybody was beating Indiana. I don't care who you are. Notre Dame definitely feels that they should have been in. I think they're going to really use that in their weight room. I think they're really going to use that as a tool to propel themselves above most, and not only the independents, obviously, but the rest of the competition they play. So I'm pretty hot on Notre Dame this year.
Okay, good deal, man. Good take. All right, well, I'm gonna go with the next team I'm gonna bring up. I was just checking out their schedule last night, in fact, and it's pretty atrocious. It's pretty bad. I don't know if you've actually looked through Penn State's schedule, but that it's look, it's not bad. They've got a lot of cupcakes, a lot. They've got some tough ones towards the end of the schedule. Their first half is definitely super easy. Um, they got couple of tough road games, but I mean, Penn State schedule is whatever. So hot or cold on Penn State, new coach. Uh, they got new things happening there. So what's your thoughts on Penn State, hot or cold?
Yeah, I'm cold on Penn State. I'm cold on Penn State. Not that they're a bad program; they obviously have the means to be a good program. It's a rebuilding season, and I think people around Happy Valley know that. Uh, I think not only you got a new coach, but it's you got all kind of new personnel around the campus, and it's no shout out or no hate to Matt Campbell at all. I mean, he obviously did very well at Iowa State. It propelled Iowa State to be a better program than they were when he got there. And if you can make Iowa State good, you can make Penn State good. So I have no doubt in my mind that they will be in a couple of years, but they still play in the Big Ten. They still play at a top priority of football. They're still going to have to play Ohio State. They're still going to have to play Michigan. Those are just games I don't see them winning. Now they can get there, obviously, but it's just not right now. They're not a right now team. They're a future team. Obviously, don't sleep on Penn State because they'll make you pay for it. But I think I'm cold on Penn State going into this year. I think you got to be realistic if you're a Penn State fan. I wouldn't look forward to the playoff this year. I would look forward to really, really building that team back up to what it needs to be. And obviously, a new coach is what you needed. I mean, you had James Franklin. He leaves or you fire him. He goes to Virginia Tech. You can't win another game. So I mean, it's obviously a coaching thing, and I really hope Penn State does good. I've always been a Penn State lover. It's the tradition there. It's the simplicity of the uniforms I love. And so, I'm cold on Penn State, but I'll probably be pretty hot on them in the future.
Yeah, I agree, brother. I agree 100%. All right. Well, the next one I've got lined up for you. You've been high on in the past, so I'm really curious to see where you go with this one. You like them, I don't. USC Trojans.
Yeah. So let me explain. First of all, I'm cold on them making the playoff. I'm big though on Lincoln Riley getting sick of all the hate he gets, and he got it at Oklahoma towards the end of his career. It's the fact of he's a one-trick pony. All they can do is throw the ball. Their defense is a little subpar at times. Their running the ball is really hit and miss. Um, I'm cold on them making the playoff, but USC is still a threat. USC has still got a damn good quarterback. They got damn good receivers all over the place. Good tight end play. They can block. They can go out for passes. Lincoln Riley's got all the tools he needs to make USC a great program again. But I'm cold on them making the playoff because not only do you have all the travel problems with having to go from West Coast to East Coast to West Coast to East Coast, you have the problem of USC's in the Big Ten now. So, I mean, they're going to have to play better competition than they did when they were in the Pac-12. So at any point in time, it's going to be difficult for teams like USC to make the playoff, who are really good teams, but they're not in that real top tier of their own conference. And that's where all that playoff expansion talk comes in, and people want USC in the playoff. USC is big bucks. It's a big program. They want teams like that in the playoff, and that's why they're trying to expand it. But I'm cold on USC making the playoff, but I don't think USC is a pushover. I see them going 9-3, 10-2. If they go 10-2, they'll make it. But I think that they slip up one more time, they might go 9-3 or 8-4.
Okay. Okay. Well, that brings me, and I wasn't even going to bring them up, but you talked about that East Coast travel, right, for the West
Mm.
Coast teams, and it just sparked a team with me that typically does make the playoffs over there, and that'd be Oregon. How do you feel about them? I mean, because typically they're, same schedule. I
Yeah.
mean, same conference, right? And they're on
Yep.
the West Coast. So hot or cold on them? Did they make the playoffs this year?
Yeah, hot on Oregon. Always hot on Oregon. Until Dan Lanning's gone, I don't ever expect them to miss a playoff. He's a good enough coach to make the playoff every single year. Obviously, we've never seen them do anything when they get there, but Dan Lanning's a damn good coach. He's always going to have his players ready to play. It's the same thing when you play, when you play Kirby Smart. People say Georgia have had not a down couple of years, because people are going to really take that term way over the top.
Right.
They've had years
Right.
where they don't win national championships. Okay, everybody wants to say Kirby Smart's team this year just isn't what it's supposed to be. That doesn't mean those people aren't going to be ready to hit you in the mouth. Okay, and Dan Lanning's always going to have his team ready to hit you in the mouth. I mean, we saw it a couple of years ago with the Colorado thing. With the whole, they're looking for clicks, we're looking for wins. I think he's a great player coach. He's always going to be one of the best recruiters over there in the West. He's got the pick of the litter to choose from. And not only that, he's got all the NIL money he needs over there. Always count on Oregon being in the playoff unless Dan Lanning is gone. If he stays there, I'd never see them missing.
Right. All right. All right. Well, good deal, man. All right. Let's jump into the SEC. All right. You brought up your favorite coach over there in USC, Lincoln Riley.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say Oklahoma first. Oklahoma from the SEC, hot or cold? What are you thinking?
Man, that's a tough one. That's a good one. It's you want to be hot on them because it's Oklahoma, and you want to be hot on them because not only do they have the tradition and the whereabouts of themselves to be a great football team, they did lose a little bit. I mean, they lost a pretty significant amount when it comes to their starting. They're starting 22. But I think Brent Venables is probably one of the best defensive-minded coaches in the league. You got John Mateer back healthy, finally. He's not going to be throwing with a half-broken hand. Man, I don't know. That's tough. I'm trying to think of who I'd have over them in the SEC. I'll be honest. I got Alabama. I'm hot on Alabama.
I was
And
bringing
really
them up. I was waiting for later.
Yeah,
but
it's those three middle pack. Well, they're not middle pack anymore, but they used to be the big three middle pack SEC teams. It was your Oklahoma, your LSU, and your Texas A&M. Okay, those three. You're like, which one of those three is going to take that top spot of those teams to be the third or fourth SEC team in the playoff?
Right.
I don't know, man. I gotta go cold. I don't think they make it. I just don't think they make it. As much as good as I think John Mateer really is, and I think you'll really see him. I mean, hell, the first game or second game of the season last year, they played Michigan, and John Mateer threw all over Michigan. I think that you're really gonna see. I think you're really gonna see Oklahoma be decent, but I just don't see them getting back to the playoff. I mean, there's just too many good SEC teams this year. I mean, the SEC is a lot more stacked this year than it was last year, especially now that LSU has got Lane Kiffin. It really turns into a whole different program down there in Baton Rouge. And you're going to see that. And you're going to see, I mean, LSU is going to be a threat, man, and they're going to be tough to beat.
So okay. And next, I was bringing up you were in my head today, Brant. You were in my head all day long because I was totally going with LSU next. So I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and say you're hot on LSU. They made the playoffs this year.
Make playoff.
Yeah,
first year
making the playoffs.
Man, look,
first year with Lane, huh?
People look. I get it. I get Lane Kiffin, his antics, and his DMing of every college girl that goes to LSU. And look, I get it. I get why you're worried. But let me tell you, I mean, that's just Lane Kiffin, man. That's just who he is. And he'll never change. I think if the only problem you're having to deal with your coach is the fact that he DMs 18, 19-year-old girls, I think you're doing pretty good for yourself. Okay. Because Lane Kiffin could damn sure coach football. And I get your argument. I know there's been an argument out there that's like, well, if he's so good of a coach, how come he's never won anywhere he's been? Well, you could argue that until this past year when Ole Miss was the best team in the SEC. I mean, outright. I mean, I get they didn't win the SEC championship, but they go on the playoff and smoke everybody. And then obviously they run into a wall. But I mean, they beat every team that we said they couldn't beat. So, and I know that Lane Kiffin wasn't the coach, but it's the fact that he had the right tools in place for them to be that good. And if you can do that at Ole Miss, you can definitely do that at LSU. No hate to Ole Miss, but Ole Miss don't have the money that, Louisiana
Right.
State does.
Right.
So I think I'm absolutely hot on LSU. I think they're going to be a freak of nature to deal with.
Yeah. Good deal. All right. Well, let's talk about the Aggies. Let's talk about Texas A&M because last year, they were hot,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they kind of snuck in the back door, and I think that nobody saw that coming, including myself. Did really well throughout the season. Of course, they got snake bit in the playoffs, but you know, I mean, you think they can get back to how they were last year again in 26? So where are you at with them?
Look, probably the hardest team to read in the SEC.
Yeah.
Definitely have the ability, definitely have the talent to be a very, very good football team. They got a tough schedule. They really upgraded their wideout room. They even took Isaiah Horton from us. Um, you're never going to find lack of talent in College Station. And I think that Mike Elko's really got a plan in mind. But this is my thing, and this is what I'm talking about for you SEC fans. There's only, at the most, there's only 4 of us getting in the playoff. So if you want to consider, let's just say automatically, you got to put Georgia in there. They've gotten in every time. So you got to
Right.
throw Georgia in there. You got to throw your Texas in there. They're supposed to be the superpower of the SEC this year. Let's just say Alabama looks damn good going into this season. Shoot, let's throw Alabama in there. Let's throw Lane Kiffin in there. There's your 4. So Texas A&M, your SEC's not getting 5 teams in the playoff. So one of those teams is going to have to shift themselves out. And this is what I was talking about with Oklahoma. There's going to be it's going to be real mixy in the SEC this year. And it's going to be, fist fight after fist fight. And don't sleep on those boys down there in Gainesville either, because they're coming to play football this year. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a smash mouth football season for the SEC, but that will only prepare us because right now the Big Ten is on top. The Big Ten is the best conference in college football, no doubt about it. We can't beat them, so we can't say that we're better than them. But I think that all this gameplay, I think all these great teams, playing smash mouth football against each other all season will really propel us, when it comes to playoff time. Because last year, I don't think anybody really thought the SEC was a big enough threat.
Right.
But it's hard to sleep on Texas A&M with Marcel Reed coming back too. He played lights out all year last year. Hell, Scott, you remember on half of our shows last year, we're like, we don't know if anybody can beat Texas A&M.
Right.
We were genuinely considering them going all the way because they looked inevitable. Like there was just nothing you could do. You had to go through A&M.
Right.
And then they had their slip up in the playoff. Miami goes to College Station and beats them. And I think that's I know Brandon Walker is a huge Texas A&M hater, and I know he always talks about they're the biggest choke jobs in college football. Just because they choke, man, I'd rather choke and get there every time than never get there. Okay,
Right.
so I don't know. I'm gonna say cold. That's gonna be my definitive answer on A&M. I
Okay.
just think there's too many
Okay.
good teams, and I think they make a couple slip ups along the way. And you can say the same thing for Alabama, and you can say the same thing for Oklahoma. It's just finding that balance, and Texas
Right.
A&M is damn good.
Right. Well, let's touch on Alabama real quick. You already mentioned you were hot on them, but why? What is it about Alabama in 26 that's going to make it different from 25?
So us Alabama fans especially know this very well. To be a great coach at the University of Alabama, you have to adapt. And people want to talk all this shit about Kalen DeBoer. Sorry, crap, my bad. about Kalen DeBoer. Guys, I mean, let's look at the track record. Did he miss a playoff in his first season? Yes. He made it to the SEC championship game his second season, won a playoff game in Norman, Oklahoma. We just happened to run into the national championship the next round. He is constantly, I mean, it's only been had 2 seasons to look, but he's gone up. You know what I mean? He has not regressed. He has not declined. He has gone up as our coach. And I told Scott this the other day. I was sitting, I was at work and I was just sitting, I was thinking about it, man. I was watching a spring practice for Alabama. And I really just, it's just a feeling in the air. You know, I feel like we're going to be really, really good at quarterback. It doesn't matter who they throw up there. I trust Kalen DeBoer completely when it comes to choosing a guy to throw the football. I trust Kalen DeBoer. I don't care if he puts Keelan. I don't care if he puts Austin. We are just everything we've needed to fix. The dude's like Iron Man, man. Every time something like pops up that could be wrong, he fixes it. Our O-line sucked last year. He brings in an entire different offensive line from all over the freaking country that all played similar styles of football, and he messes them together and says, you're going to be the best O-line in the country. We lost a couple of D-line. We lost a bunch of our linebackers in our linebacker core. All of it's been filled and fixed. And not only that, we have some of the biggest, most athletic, freaking looking freshmen I've ever seen in my life playing at the University of Alabama. And everybody wants to talk about NIL. Everybody wants to talk about, oh, Texas has got all the money. They're going to win. Don't even try. God, let me tell you something. You know what's really hard to beat in college football? Heart. Heart is a very difficult to beat, and I'm telling you, Alabama's going to have a ton of it this year. I'm not saying they're going to outright win the national championship. I'm not saying expect them to get to the national championship, but don't expect Alabama to be a pushover like they have been the last 2 years. And I don't want to, look, I'm going to knock on wood before I say this. I feel real sorry for Florida State, what's coming, because I think that they really filled their own grave after what they did last year. And granted, it was our fault. We didn't come ready to play. They walk out there, they smoke us, and then they talked all that crap all off season, and then they go in and they prove it. I don't see that happening again. I don't think Kalen DeBoer would let that happen again. And I know Kalen DeBoer's, third year in a program record is ridiculous. It's something in like 1 or 2, but I trust Alabama more, and I trust them because they've seen what they've seen. There's been, one coaching change? We lost our O-line coach, and then everybody else is back. I feel like everybody's really familiar with each other, really familiar with the playbook now. There's no doubt. Now, if we come in this year and go 8-4 or 9-3, now I think it's time to start worrying. I think it's time to be like, is this really what we want? Especially after 3 years. My motto when he got hired is give the guy 3 years, because I knew he was coming after Nick. Right. I knew he was accepting the challenge. Give the guy 3 years. Let's see what he can do with it. And, so far he has not disappointed me. I mean, yeah, he went 8-4 the first year, but I mean, dude, you made it to a playoff game, won it, and almost won or didn't almost win. We got smoked, but went to the SEC championship. Like, I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm with a brand new coach coming in and feeling for the greatest of all time. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Good deal. All right. Well, let's go. Let's slide over to the ACC. This one ought to be fun. And I'll start with the, national championship contender, Miami Hurricanes. Hot or cold? They getting back there this year?
I don't think so. And I'm cold on Miami. Now, here's my trouble with that. I really want to say hot because I don't know of any other team in the ACC that's going to stop them. I think Clemson is well way out the door. I don't think Clemson is going to be a massive threat to them. Darian Mensah was the only threat that Duke had against anybody, and then he went to Miami. So I don't know who can challenge them. I mean, you can maybe say Louisville. Maybe Jeff Brom with their Louisville can, really kind of thrust them forward. I mean, they did really well last year, and they've always been on an incline, so maybe you can say Louisville. But I think it's going to be one of those two. But I'm going to take experience with Mario Cristobal over that. So I think only one ACC team gets in again this year, and I think it's Miami. I think it's Louisville. I think Louisville does it. I'm just cold on Miami. You lose your good quarterback. Granted, let's look, guys. Let's talk about this. Darian Mintz is good. We know that. We're well aware of how good Darian Mintz is. He still lost 5 games at Duke last year. I mean, he's going to be playing the same teams he played last year. So, I mean, maybe you could say Virginia makes their way back in somehow and challenges Duke or Miami again. But I don't know, man. I just don't trust a guy to come in and, and really, really take over a program like Miami, because he's going to be on the biggest stage, man. Miami's a money school. It's a big time football school. But I don't know. I think somewhere along the line, Miami slips up. And I mean, guys, I get that Miami was good last year and they made it, but let's not forget Mario Cristobal is not a new coach at Miami. He's been there for a little while. And I mean, you've seen the mistakes that have happened for them to not get there before. So I mean, I don't know. It's just a tricky team to bet on. And now look, if you want to go bet on Miami to win the national championship, you go right on ahead because you're gonna make a lot of money. But I just they're not my pick. I don't see them getting in the playoff. I see Louisville finally taking that step up, or maybe Virginia getting back. I just think Miami slips up somewhere.
So you're telling me Louisville wins the ACC and goes to the playoffs?
I think you're gonna
That's
have. I
that's
think it's gonna be close. I think you're gonna be close because I think Miami's definitely gonna be up there. Louisville's gonna be up there. Virginia's gonna be up there. And now, don't forget about James Franklin at Virginia Tech. Now, those four teams are gonna be up there together. I mean, I'm a gambling man. You know that. I'm gambling that Miami slips up somewhere. And I just now look, if Miami goes back, if Miami wins the ACC or whatever and makes it back to the playoff, I start to consider them pretty consistent, and I might be hot on them in the future, a lot more. I mean, because 1 year, look, anybody can do it 1 year, and the same thing goes for Alabama. Anybody can do it 1 year, but it's doing it constantly and being consistent. And that's what makes you
right.
a good program and a good coach at that. So I really think Mario Cristobal is going to be looking to take that extra step.
I agree. I agree. Oh man, you got anybody else you wanted to talk about before we head out of here? I think we hit all the big timers. I wasn't going to mention people that are obviously like Ohio State's going to be there.
Yeah,
I mean,
Indiana's going to be there.
Indiana's going to be there. Yeah,
Hmm.
so I kind of left them all to the side. We all know we all have the same feeling on them, but did I miss anybody that you specifically wanted to talk about?
Well, this is my thing, and I'll more so I don't know. I'll more so ask you, I guess.
Mhm.
What do we think about Ole Miss? I
I
mean,
was gonna add them to it, but I just feel like we all feel the same way about that head coach.
mhm.
And I was really happy with their playoff run. I was happy that they were able to do some things without Lane there. I I don't hate Ole Miss as a Bama fan. I don't like them, but I don't hate them. I often pull for them depending on who they're playing against, but um, I they're cold. I don't see any way if they win maybe 8 games. I think that's what's to be expected. I give them 8. You know, they're bringing their quarterback back, right? Are they not? I don't remember
I
how
don't
that.
think anybody really knows yet. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how that turned out. Either way, I mean, I just don't see you know, coaching is everything in this league, and I've never been a fan of his. Like again, he did great, but listen, man, I don't care what anybody says. Lane had coached him all year long. That was built by Lane, and it was only a matter of time before they were going to take a beating, and they did. But even when they lost, like I said, it wasn't terrible. They played their butts off, but I mean, it's it's it they're cold with me. I don't 8 games tops, man. 8 wins. And that's a good season in my opinion for them. So, what do you think?
I don't know. I think it's just tricky because of the coaching thing, and it's I don't know. I say 8 games is a great line for them because they
Right.
can really exceed that. I mean, they have the talent to exceed that total, but will it be put forth with coaching? And if it's not, obviously, they'll be an under team. Um, but yeah, no. So before all the Miami fans eat me alive, look, I'm a gambler. Okay. Y'all definitely got the ability to be back there. I'm not saying you don't. I'm a gambling guy, and I think Jeff Brom and Louisville really, really take that step um, to be one of the best teams in the league.
Right. Fair enough, brother. Fair enough. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for today's show. So, real fast, one more time, we're going to talk about Made Madness. Guys, coming up. You're not participating. We still want you to be a part of it. Get on in, get subscribed to the channel. Be ready for it. We're going to announce the dates when they happen. Be there, get your votes in, subscribe to the channel. I cannot wait to see who is the greatest college football athlete of all time. We'll find out here in the next month or two. It's going down right here on 4th and 31. For Brant, I'm Scott. 4th and 31. We're out. Y'all have a good one.